Hello everybody, this is Tyrannex. Welcome to the first voiced over video about Vintagecraft. That is a mod I have been developing for almost a year now, and I think it's about time that I give a few introductory videos slash let's plays slash general feel of the mod. Vintagecraft is a full conversion mod, similarly to Vintagecraft, which means it changes pretty much every aspect of the game, which also makes it not too compatible with other mods, so I suggest to use Vintagecraft pretty much alone, except for utility mods like not enough items or similar. As for me, I have dynamic lights installed as well. That works very well along with Vintagecraft, as well as Optifine, the usual mod that you might want to install to improve your performance, and it will give you a very handy key for zooming. So let's jump right into it. You will see that these buttons are quite different. That is because Vintagecraft comes already by default with 32 by 32 textures. This is not a resource pack, but you can change them with a resource pack if you wanted to. If you want the vanilla Minecraft feel of 16 by 16 textures, you just build a resource pack for yourself. Okay, let's create a brand new world here. And here I already want to note that you probably should not try to use Vintagecraft and generate a vanilla world with it. As you can see, if you go into the world options, you see here world type VC default. This is for Vintagecraft. If you were to use a vanilla generator, things might get messy and crash, so I would not suggest that. Alright, let's generate a new world. That will take a little longer than you perhaps are used to. That is because Vintagecraft does a lot of calculations in the background, which, like creating procedurally generated trees, creating several maps, like rainfall, temperature, fertility, and so on. But it's not that slow, and once the map is loaded, it runs pretty smoothly in general. I am recording right now, so it might occasionally lag, since I do not have the best of best PCs, unfortunately. But there we go, we are in a brand new world. We are in a little bit cold and dry area. You can see that by the lack of grass growth and the snow here. So you can see there is several biomes. There we have a very barren area, and you can see there is smooth transitions between those biomes, which is one of the main core features of Vintagecraft. Animals are still the same, but I do plan on adding a lot more wild versions of these animals, since these are all just very domesticated versions. Okay, first things first, we have food already in that case. Let's get some wood and sticks. These are two different kinds of leaves. Through these you can just actually walk through, and these are solid. These barely drop anything actually, but those will drop you sticks, which is pretty much also the only source of sticks that you will find in this world, because you cannot convert planks into sticks as you could in vanilla Minecraft. And also just a sapling dropped. All the trees in Vintagecraft drop saplings, but some do very rarely. We should get about 10 logs or something for starters. Generally you will need more resources for the things you want to build compared to vanilla Minecraft. Something I just forgot to tell you now. What was that? Ah yes, about the saplings. You can plant them and they will grow on their own. But you see, if you right click on them with your empty hand, you see growth 0.35. That means it's gonna just grow about a third of the size than this tree, or even smaller. But you can influence that by giving it fertilizer. And there's two different kinds of fertilizers in the game currently, which is peat, which is also a source of fuel, and sulfite. You can find that when you mine rock salt, which I can show you later if we encounter it. Okay, these two, and then we can try to find some stone. There are no wooden tools in my Vintagecraft. You have to craft stone tools, and these can be done by breaking two kinds of blocks. One is regolith, which we do not see here right now. Perhaps if we dig under here one block. No, there's stone. But regolith is like a state between rock and soil, and you can find that over here. As you can see, this is regolith, these few stony things. If you break those will give you rocks. But I have a bit more convenient source over here, which is gravel. That drops the stones a little more likely. Just like flint, mine a few blocks, and you should occasionally pick up a stone. Not very lucky right now, however. I also just picked up some tall grass that is used for fire starters and a very cheap source of fuel. This stuff here. You get that by breaking just simple grass here. Oh wow, this is quite unlucky this time. There we go. First stone. Second one. We need one more, and then we can make ourselves a pickaxe, which will give us a much easier way to collect these stones. So, to craft a crafting table, place 4 logs in your inventory, crafting inventory, and you get yourself your very familiar block. And then you can create stone tools like you are familiar with in vanilla Minecraft, like a stone pickaxe. And yeah, let's get some stones and craft the remaining tools that we have available right now. A few will suffice. Once we start mining ores, we will also get more stones. Okay, now let's make 2 axes actually. This is our first weapon in the game, and pretty awful for starters. But in the beginning you are not that much required to carry a weapon around you, because there's gonna be a little bit less monsters around in the first few days. Also, you can throw stones actually. These do a little bit damage to the monsters and give them an occasional slowdown effect, which helps you escape the mobs a bit more easily. Let's kill a few cows for our survival. There is not as much animals around as in vanilla Minecraft, therefore they will drop more resources. Also, you cannot breed them right now, but that should change very soon in a future version. Okay, so we got wood, we got tools, we got some food to survive. Conveniently, there is even clay. This is a very important resource as well. Let's mine it up right away. There we go. A little bit is enough for now. Now, what we obviously want to do is get ourselves some better tools so we can mine faster, and build our houses and create wooden products and so on and so forth. So we should progress along the Metal Ages, with the first Metal Age being the Copper Age, for which we need obviously copper and some fuel. So these are most easily found by looking at various mountain cliffs, as I do not suggest going deep under into the caves for now. There is a lot harder mobs than you probably are used to. What I did add here is that the deeper you go, the stronger the enemies will become. They will be armored, and that gives them additional health boost, so you will have to hack a lot on a zombie in full iron armor, which is especially hard because they also get knockback resistance from the armor. So be aware of that. So I just skim the cliffs here for deposits. Here you see is the first deposit, that is bismuth. We do not need that right now, and we cannot mine it. That is going to be an important metal when we want to go to the second Copper Age, the Bronze Age. But we have a lignite here at least, that is very good. Let's mine it up. And you might notice this is quite slow. The beginner tools are really not the best at all, and the mining speed improves significantly when you get the next metal tiers. With each continuing metal tier, you get like a 30 to 40% boost in mining speeds and durability. Also, this is here shale. That means that is, I think, that's a sedimentary rock actually, so it would be even slower to mine if this ore would be within a igneous rock. And the bismuth we cannot mine yet. We will come back for that later. Oh, that is awesome. We have here even some more lignite. And all deposits which are generated in Vintagecraft are very flat, as opposed to vanilla Minecraft where you have clumps of ores. That, in my opinion, makes the game a lot more interesting, because you also have to little bit look diagonally for your ores, because these can go up and down in all kinds of shapes. But oh, we have already 30 lignite. That is enough. Let's go find copper. And we should probably cook some of these beef that we have with us soonish. But maybe I can still see this is more lignite. Maybe I'll find some copper before I make my first fire pit. And Optifine, it comes in very handy with its zoom feature. You can see deposits from far away already. Really there should be binoculars that let you do that, not already from the beginning, if you ask me. Oh yeah, and you might have noticed there's a little bit different sky in Vintagecraft. That is a fairly new addition. There's 4 different skies in this mod that will be randomly chosen each time you generate a new world. And this here is a very important crop. We will pick this up. That is flax. We're going to need that later, and it's also a source of food. A pity that there's only 2 pieces for us here. We need a lot more than that. That's for sure. Also, you can see the occasional shooting stars flying by here. if you have not noticed already. And this is also a very important resource here. This is fire clay. This you will require for the Iron and Bronze Age, but we will not need it for now, really. These white stripes are quartz. This will let you melt glass once you are in the Steel Age. And they also contain gold and silver deposits, which are only found inside quartz. Oh yeah, and of course we can make torches from this lignite, like you can do in vanilla Minecraft. There we go. Let's see if we can find some copper. This here is sulfur, which will let you make explosives, which is very helpful for mining. Okay, I am pretty hungry, so I'm going to make myself a fire pit. You do this by shift right clicking on a floor with stones in your hand. You need at least 3. That's gonna create this tiny platform, and then you can, still holding shift, right click 3 logs, and you get a small fire pit for yourself with a nice cozy fire sounds. And in here you can place your raw beef, and it's going to cook into cooked beef. Even also the stoves have a different mechanics compared to vanilla Minecraft. You see there is temperature values of the stove and of the item to be baked, and each item which is bakeable in a fire pit or stove requires a certain temperature before this progress bar starts progressing. In case of raw beef it's only 100 degrees, but for example to melt copper you need over 1000 degrees, and you can only reach that with lignite. It goes up to 1100 degrees in a fire pit. Okay, let's go down here. We should be fairly safe because it's still the first day, and the cave is not very deep. It's at Y134. Let's make ourselves a staircase while our steak is cooking there. And there we can see there is a small gold deposit within the quartz, just as I mentioned. Unfortunately gold has no use yet, but I do have big plans for it, so I really suggest you to mine it. It's going to be a very valuable commodity later in the game. And you might have noticed there's a lot of different rock types. Here's conglomerate, gneiss. They all have different properties and mining speeds, but you can make stone tools from all of them. Oh, here we have galena. This is a ore that melts into lead, which has also no use as of right now, but will become useful pretty soon, I hope. Okay, the cave is ending, so let me get that steak and get out of here again. And the fire pit extinguished. You could just put another log in here and it's gonna start burning again. These torches are valuable, so I'm gonna pick them up this time. There is some more lignite, but we have not found any copper yet, which is what we are looking for. More fire clay. So these deposits are really not that hard to find. I do get constant reports that things is really tough to find, but every time I generate a new seed I see all the resources I need. This here is also a metal needed for the Bronze Age. This is cassiterite that melts into tin. So we already have all the late game ores here, really. It's almost too common already, but no copper. So far no copper. This is rock salt and this is the sylvite that I mentioned, but you do need a better pickaxe. I cannot mine it with this one. Let's leave a torch in here. to remember for later, perhaps. This is a brand new version of Vintagecraft which adds lakes and some changes to the fire pit that I am very happy to have done now, because it was really hard to program these lakes. No copper, plenty of cassiterite, but no copper, no copper. But it's only a matter of time until we find it. At least so far it has really been a matter of minutes until I found the first copper source. But maybe we're unlucky this time. We will find out. Oh, and this here, this is actually peat. You can burn it just like logs in a fire pit, and also acts as a fertilizer for your saplings. Let's mine it up. Actually, that is a very handy resource. It usually spawns in wet areas and fairly close to the ground, not up in the mountains. That is quite interesting. So I could have given, I just gave you an introduction to pretty much all the important resources in this mod. What a coincidence. And did you notice that? The whole block broke. This is how you can mine the whole stones, by just mining all the blocks around it. Look, all the direct ones. This one, this one, this one, this one, and the below, and it will break the whole block. Let's make a new pickaxe, and then I'll demonstrate you. In fact, let's make 2 picks. There we go. That's just like Vintagecraft. It's actually a good idea to take some of those blocks. You're going to need them when you create your very first tools. Okay, down there I don't want to go. Maybe over here we find some copper. Nope, this is a dead end. Let's actually get these as well. These are very easy to break. Oh, it's probably way too dark to see here. Okay, there we go. Oh, is this? No, this is also cassiterite. Where is our copper? I was promised there will be copper. More sphalerite is here. Jeez! That is the strangest thing ever. Alright, let's go back up here. Here is obviously no copper. We found really pretty much everything for the Bronze and Iron Age, but not for the Copper Age. There is also achievements in the game, by the way, if you're curious. They might help you a little bit to progress in this mod. Here you see Copper, Bronze, Iron, and the Steel Age. And then there's a few more. Okay, we are approaching a slightly colder area. And as you notice, the trees, the appropriate trees grow in the each biome. So cold areas will have trees suited for cold areas, and warm biomes will have trees suited for warm biomes. It is all very dynamically generated. And this looks like a bug. Okay, I guess the tree doesn't want to generate on top of the snow. Good, that's gonna be fixed next version. So this is a really bad place actually to find copper. We should go for more mountain cliffs. Or some shallow caves would also work. But here's a lot of flat land. Especially when there's trees, you don't see very far. Maybe here is something exposed. Let's have a look. There is no copper here. There we go. We found copper. So you will need at least 12 pieces to be able to craft a pickaxe. That is because a pickaxe will require 3 copper ingots, and 1 copper ingot requires 4 pieces of ore. It is not like in vanilla Minecraft that 1 ore is 1 bar. It differs actually. For example, cassiterite, which creates tin bars, that one requires 8 ores. The same goes for gold, for example. And you see, this goes diagonal, this deposit, so it's always important that you little bit look around when you find an deposit that you want to mine. Let's put a torch here. Doesn't seem to be a very big deposit, unfortunately, though. But perhaps it's big enough. Nope. 1 piece is missing. Oh man. Alright, we have to keep looking. This is not enough to get our first pickaxe. Also, you will want to collect probably twice or 3 times as much, so that you can also make yourself a sword and a saw, which will let you cut planks to get building materials for your house, for example. Unfortunately, you cannot breed those right now. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. I plan to make them breed on their own by eating grass. I mean, all the animals really, except for pigs and chicken. They probably should eat seeds or something. But I need to find a good idea for that and how I'm gonna do that. Okay, maybe I'll stop the video here until I found copper. This is not going to be an extremely helpful video for you to watch me look around. So see you in a bit. Well, there we go. That took me about 3 minutes. And we found ourselves a nice deposit of copper here. Okay, that is actually very good. Let's already start smelting that case, but we need a little more logs to make a fire pit. Actually, just 1 piece. Let's get a single piece there. Birch will work. And make the platform. 1 log, 2 log, 3 log. We have our fire. Let's put in 1 peat. That's gonna help us save a little bit of lignite, because it has to first go up to temperature before it can even start melting anyway. You see, this is 900 degrees. Would not be enough to melt the copper, melting at 1084 degrees. And as it melts, we will just slowly refill it with the copper ores. And this one is a lot slower to mine because it is in gabbro, which is a igneous rock. That is terribly slow to mine. Wow. But that gets a lot better once you get some decent pickaxe like iron or steel. Once we have melted this copper, we will need to work our ingots into tools. That is done by a very own smithing system that I have made in this mod, which requires you to heat up the ores, the ingots, I'm sorry, and then you can apply certain techniques to it, which in turn creates your desired tool. Oh, we should not let it extinguish, however, it's gonna cool down pretty quickly. Okay, I think we can already put the lignite inside. That will burn for quite a while. Smelting will take a lot longer compared to a vanilla Minecraft, but the fuel also lasts longer usually. You will be mining a lot in this game, I can tell you that. If you're not a friend of mining, you might want to invite your branch miner friends over. And in a future version perhaps you can reduce the amount of required mining by trading with villagers or something like that. For now it's a lot of things is going to change still with this mod. It's still in the beginning, but very playable already, in my opinion at least. Alright, so this is almost up temperature. Let's give it a few seconds to see whether it's starting to melt or not, and it starts melting, so that's just fine. Let's see if we find some other copper ore in the meantime. There we go. As I mentioned, always check diagonal. And I am not entirely sure, but I probably already hit the 20-minute mark. So I'm going to stop it for now and hopefully see you in the next episode where I will show you some smithing. Goodbye!